So, if you're following along, you can still see the screen. Just put a number two in the chat, just so I can kind of get a warmth test, just see if everyone's still following along. And we're not completely disconnected. Zoom really struggles when there's like more people joining us and we're flicking through stuff. Cool. So, supplements. So, pre-workout, post-workout, what are we taking? How do we fuel effectively for workouts? Um, does it have to be supplements? Not at all. It can be real food or it can be food or a snack. So if we're talking pre-workout, obviously, funny enough, there actually is designated pre-workouts. So a lot of that will be like pre-workout drinks or pre-workout shots, an energy drink. So actually, in combination, we kind of split this up for the pre-workout stuff. So pre-workout. Most of the time, if you want a good workout, increased focus, increased concentration, then we're looking at caffeine, right? So we want some sort of caffeine around 150 to 200 micrograms of caffeine. So maybe that's a cup of coffee before you work out. Maybe it's a cup of coffee before you go for a run. There's multiple studies, really in-depth studies to say that it does help to increase performance. So that's really, really important to consider when you're doing a workout. Obviously, you then need to balance that up of what time you work out and when you're planning on sleeping. So caffeine does last in the body for 10 hours. So if you're thinking about going to sleep sometime soon, then it might not be a great idea to have coffee. Can you fall asleep while having coffee, like before bed? Of course you can, but it's the quality of sleep that we're looking for. So that's just what you need to be aware of as well. So caffeine for pre-workout, absolutely great. Beta alanine, which is what you will find in most like pre-workout drinks, but you can actually buy it as an individual supplement as well. Um, this is pretty much just a lactic acid buffer. So like it just helps the body to be a little bit more efficient under exercise. But again, you'll find that in most pre-workouts, you can buy it as an addition, but it's not an absolute essential. The most important pre-workout that you need to consider before, going to the gym or before exercise is actually just food. So your carbohydrates and your protein. If you're taking these two together, it's actually a lot more effective, not only for your workout, but also your recovery as well. So what you want is actually a blend or a mix of carbohydrate and protein. So what would that look like in real terms? So that could be a banana with some peanut butter. Okay, we've got some good fats there. We've got our protein from the peanut butter, and then we've got our carbohydrates from the banana. What else could it look like? It could look like rice cakes. It could look like, a protein bar, or it could look like a cereal bar that you buy from the shop. It could look like a bowl of cereal with, you know, um, a protein like drink or a protein powder mixed with milk to then use as your milk. There's so many like just normal things that we probably don't think about that you could use as a pre-workout. And it's also great for post-workout and recovery as well. So what we need to think about is that literally just carbohydrate and protein together rather than just thinking about the protein. If we're talking about pre and post, pre-workout, probably more important to have carbs, and then post-workout, probably more important protein. But when you have them together, it's a lot more effective for the body. So again, just using some of those ideas to kind of build together your strategy, and it's what works well for you. So your body likes habit, it likes consistency. So if you're someone who will have like a cup of coffee and a banana before a workout and that works for you, that's what you keep doing because that will then become your ritual. Shock, that also then becomes a habit. So if you're struggling with the gym, we start to build habits around it. Like, do you leave your clothes out on the bed or whatnot? So if you can do that and you can stick to that, then that then becomes your ritual. How long before a workout should you take pre-workout? Probably about half an hour. It does depend what you're looking for. So if we're looking at food, then obviously it would be a little bit longer, maybe an hour and a half or an hour before, just to let the body digest the food. Because again, you don't want to eat something and then go and work out. Stomach cramps, you might feel a bit sick. So just let that kind of digest. So probably about an hour before. We're not talking about a big meal, just something nice and light, which is why I say like rice cakes or just a small bowl of cereal. Um, but if it's like a shot, if you are taking a pre-workout or if it's just a coffee, then probably about half an hour before. Make sure you have some water with that as well, just to help with the circulation, make sure it gets in the bloodstream and it actually gets a chance just to actually kickstart the body ready for workout. Post-workout, again, just to really emphasize kind of that protein and carbohydrate mix, is going to be a lot more effective. Um, and then another option is your BCAAs. So if you're literally buying supplements or if you have a supplement stack, then BCAAs are a great pre-workout or post-workout recovery thing. Um, Essentially what BCAAs are in simple terms, it's like chains of protein. So rather than actually having to take the protein and then it digesting, you can just take kind of like the branch chain amino acids that will just help and it will go straight into recovery. Um, so if you're looking at pre-workout and like shakes, for example, the question that came in the chat, um, it can be due to multiple things. Usually what it is usually it's a combination. Yeah, so what most people find is if they take like a really high dosage of a pre-workout, you will get that itchy face. Like I always get it in my forehead. You might find some shakes. That's in combination with a high caffeine content. That supplement that we talked about, beta alanine. When you have a high concentration of that, that kind of gives you like that pins and needles feeling or that um, itchy kind of sensation on your body. So you just need to be aware with what dosages are in those pre-workout shots. It's going to be in pre-workout because that's the whole point of pre-workout. So what I would say is that if it is quite intense, then you just need to dilute it with some water. So if you're buying a pre-workout shot, just make sure you've got a bottle of water with you. Kind of take it in balance and just kind of let it slowly go into the system rather than just shotting it straight away. Um, that's one way around it. So, if your gym only has like two or three pre-workout shots available or two brands of pre-workout shots, then just dilute it and it should help a little bit. Um, but again, that's kind of the idea of pre-workout, really. So, just stick to a cup of coffee if it is a problem and it's not a nice feeling, but um that's kind of the sacrifice you make. For anything else for post-workout, again, like some of the things I've mentioned in the past, like or more recently, what I've said is like bowl of cereal with, like protein powder, milk. You're then getting the protein and carbohydrate, perfect combination. Or just have a decent meal, chicken and rice, salmon rice. If you're having kind of like your beef, some pasta, all the normal foods that you would have. Make sure you get your vegetables in there as well. So it's probably best to have your dinner after a workout, just to make sure that obviously when you go to sleep, you've got enough fuel for your body to then recover. If we're all good on that, then we'll move on to the next one. Just cautious on time. So yeah, not as much time to spend on each individual thing, because there was four topics rather than probably just one where we go more in depth. Um, if there are any more questions or as I kind of upload these as bite-sized episodes, then make sure you feed back in the group chat or just drop me a message, if you want me to go in depth with anything else, because I appreciate that I try to fly through this with as much information but as little as possible to actually get through it. But yeah, hopefully the bite-sized video helps as well. You'll be able to refer back to it, and as you come across questions or that, make sure you drop it in the group chat. If you're watching this back on YouTube, then leave a comment below. And if you're watching this or listening to this in the car, on Spotify, then you can drop me a message on Instagram, Sean Kenny _, or on WhatsApp or the group chat if you are a client. So hopefully this helped today, and I hope this finds all the right people. I will end this here and have a wonderful evening.